If you take that job in the Bahamas at age 23, you'll be working long hours. It will set you up for travel, though. So when it's done, keep going. Just don't come back in debt. We'll put you up when you get back unless you owe people money. And this is Wright, Brennan. This is the Lost in the Midlands podcast brought to you by Wright Roofing. And today I am here with a good friend, Brian Adams with Hoover Buildings. And Brian is a customer. He's a trades professional. He's really just a man about town in Lexington, South Carolina. You can't miss him. He's also a pink gorilla on certain days of the week. And, thanks for coming on, man.
It's good. I've been listening, driving around. I cover a lot of miles for Hoover. Yeah. So I've listened to about 30 of your podcasts. Heck yeah. Woo. Heck yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
We're going to get you a Lost in the Midlands trophy. That is a record. That is a record if you've listened to 30. So appreciate your support, man. All right, let's jump into your story because you got quite a story. You are a unique character, and so to set the stage, we got to jump back to the beginning. Where you from?
All right. So I've been listening to your podcast, so I know the right answers. I was conceived in Malaya after my parents, my dad got a job in Malaya accounting for a mine company or something, and my brother and sister lived there. They're older than me. There was a bowl of shark fin soup, and apparently that led to my conception. So that's where it starts.
It's always epic with you. Unbelievable. Okay, then what happens?
So then they moved back to England whilst I was gestating, I guess is the term.
Okay. Cool.
They moved to a town called Chester, not the one up the road here, but the one that's named after. And then when I was 6, we moved to a place called Marlborough in Wiltshire, about 20 miles from Stonehenge is where I grew up.
Cool.
And I was there until I was about 23 with a year's gap as an exchange student in Beardstown, Illinois, which is middle of nowhere. It's a great place, but very small.
Yeah, interesting.
And then back to there, took 4 years to get a 2 years associate degree in construction management.
Nice. Well, 2-4, still pretty good.
Yeah, it worked. And during that, I was working part-time as well, and it was evident that I enjoyed working, but studying was easily distracted from.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah, so I even got a job behind the student union bar, which is a reason it took 4 years. Then went to work for construction companies and their management programs and stuff like that. And then
where did you work for these companies?
That was in the UK.
That was in the UK, okay.
And then I was...
And how old were you? This was in...
At age 22, I happened to apply for this job in the Bahamas, and the interview was absolute garbage. I was not stunning. They said, "How soon can you get out there if we need you to?" I said, "Well, I could get there in a week, but I'd like 2." And they perked up, so I got the job. And when I showed my dad all the documents, that's when he said that. He knew that I wasn't the best money manager as a personal management guy. He'd seen other friends' kids go away and come back and owe money and be a mess. And he said, "Look, go and keep going. Go travel." Because he'd taken a job in Malaya, for Christ's sake. At whatever age, with 2 kids, he made my mother transport my 6-year-old brother and 4-year-old sister from England through the snowiest winter ever.
Adventures in your blood.
Yeah, and it's meant to happen, so keep on traveling. So, and I'm still doing it.
When you saw the job description, were you just like, oh, Bahamas, and then whatever else was there, you're like, I'll do that too?
So the crazy thing was, it for a major international construction company. When I signed up with them, I was one of 69,000 employees around the world.
Oh, wow.
So, and they built the Channel Tunnel. They were doing all sorts of stuff in the Middle East.
Wow.
And it was for a $144 million hotel project in the Bahamas. But the ad in the construction news, because this is all pre-internet, it was paper, was Bahamas in big letters, The company name was even smaller than the Bahamas bit. They knew what they were selling.
Oh, they were looking for you.
Yeah, and they were 4 or 5 of us all hired at about the same age to go out there and be the junior site engineers to go around, put the marks down where the walls are going to go and all that stuff.
Congratulations on getting a job and surviving. I feel like this is like, some kind of movie, like Road Trip probably could have been.
There were moments. You do get caught up in stuff. I was with Balfour Beatty for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And at one point in that, I'm sat in an office in Atlanta working on estimates. I went from laying out and stuff and ended up doing purchasing somehow. So I'm sat in an office in Atlanta, and a director comes in and says, "This is what you're doing next. You're going to go to St. Martin, and you're going to look at the project we're doing there, see what we need. Then you're going to go to St. Kitts, team up with some directors. Then we're going to take you to Venezuela." I said, "Where?"
Wow.
Venezuela. So I was 25, 26, and I ended up stood on top of this building overlooking Caracas in Venezuela before their revolution and everything. And I seriously pinched myself. I had no clue. And other people, when the director was telling me this in a cubicle, so people next to me could hear it. As soon as the director left, they all came around. They just started laughing. I said, "What the heck was that?" And it just happened. In that moment, I was the purchasing guy for the group, and a new guy was getting hired who was 30 years older than me. And he was flying into Venezuela on his first day, but they wanted me to be his sidekick to make sure, because I knew the characters and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing. So,
People skills will take you a long way.
luck and hard work, putting yourself out there and keep putting your foot forward.
Yeah.
And be honest and tell people if you don't know something, and say yes a bit quick.
Yeah. I'm on board with that. All right, so then what happened?
So then I was with them for 4 years. I got through to the point where the adventure was dying a little bit, to be quite honest.
Yep.
And I said, you know what, I'm arguing too much. I was getting up the ladder, I was becoming management, and I was the construction battle at that level was stressing me out a bit too much, and not in it wasn't healthy for me. So I took a year off. So I did 4 years with them, saved some money, took a year off. One of the part of that year off was go back to England and do a little bit of part-time and what have you.
Yeah.
And then, so that's where I took Dad up on his thing. I went, "I'm coming home. I've got money, but I'm coming home."
Yeah.
I did a train trip across the States, learnt to sail in San Francisco at the midpoint of that trip, and we'll probably circle back to that. Then the second 6 months of that year off was in a organized group truck around South America. And so that was the other part of Dad's thing, keep traveling.
Yeah.
I did, and it gave me a chance. I went to Machu Picchu. I've been through we went Ecuador. I'm not going to do it in the right order. Ecuador, Peru, Chile, a little bit of Argentina, a tiny little bit of Paraguay, Bolivia, Brazil. We did Carnival in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
At a $12 a night hotel.
Yeah.
Most of the trip was camping, unless we were stopped in a city, and then we'd stay in a hotel and get cleaned up a bit. Through there into Venezuela again. So, like 2 years after I've been there on business, I'm going through as a vagrant hippie type dude. And it was really weird to drive past this glorious hotel I stayed in that had cost the company $100 a night, and we were trying to find somewhere for 10. So
it came full circle. Right?
Yeah, and then the full circle completely going through Colombia back into Ecuador. So that was 6 months of doing that.
Wow. This is Wright, Brennan, the owner of Wright Roofing. When it comes to the maintenance of your roof, you want to know that you have an experienced team that knows what they're doing. And with 10 years in the business, we check all the boxes. Leaky roof, storm damage, or just overdue on maintenance, give us a call at 803-828-4181 for a free estimate. Again, that's 803-828-4181. And remember, our commitment is to roof it the right way.
Then back to work in the UK in construction for a little bit as an agency guy, and then I got a job back in the Caribbean with another company. 2 years with them, said, I was right. I don't like construction management. It's not making me a good person. Did a year in a hardware store in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and then landed in Atlanta in 1996.
Were you like sailing around the islands? I mean,
No.
you knew how to sail.
No, I didn't know how to sail at that point. That was the point of the trip in San Francisco. I took sailing lessons. I'd been on a sailboat like 3 times.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I did it. But I'd done a sail trip in Antigua. Somebody had taken me out during a race week, and I went, and I'd already given my notice in to leave the islands. And I went, this is why I'd stay. But it was too late. I'd already blown it.
So you're back in Atlanta. It's 96.
Yeah.
That was like the year of the Olympics, right?
Yep, we went to everything. Everybody dogs the Olympics a little bit in Atlanta. It was fantastic. Those that didn't like it left. The roads were clear. The Pratt that let the bomb off that wasn't good.
That was terrible.
But as an event and the city coming together,
it's really cool.
I thought it was really cool. And you could get onto Marta and you'd be sat next to the Polish water polo team.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't have limousines. They're not the US basketball team,
Yeah.
So off they go. And you could get into it. We did everything from, we got lucky. It was all by lottery. I went to the finals for the 100 meters athletics, which is the golden ticket to see that at Turner Field before they turned it back into a baseball park. But we also went and watched mountain bike riding at Stone Mountain, where we know nothing, but you stand there and watch, and there's huge crowds. It's great. It was really good. So part of the reason for picking Atlanta to settle in, a small part of it was the Olympics were coming, and it was a big city within 12 miles of the first wife's parents and all that stuff. So.
Wow.
So, yes, there I started a pool service company after working for another company for a few years. I got out of construction management, worked for Sunrise Pool Service, cleaning pools, and said, I can do that. So followed the American dream, started my own business, and got some employees. Then a pool builder came and said, I want to buy your business. And I didn't. This is, if you want a bit of business advice, do more due diligence about the company buying you than you would have done to you if you were buying a house, because he didn't even own his own house. It was a mess. So
Lordy.
It lasted. I got half the money, but it broke me a little bit. But I was already working for a sailing school at that point, so I had that going for about 8 years. The pool industry is fantastic. Easy in, easy out. Nobody else wants to do it. It is really good place if you're independent and you want to go and you can be reliable. You can make it.
Very cool. Pool. You were sailing lessons.
So
how do we get to Lexington?
Okay.
Fast forward to Lexington.
Okay, fast forward. We were almost there, actually. So I sold the pool business thing to the service business to this guy, and that all went to heck. And I ended up working on the dock at the sailing where I used to use the boats and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I worked there for a year, and it's like, what can I do with this? They said, open a branch for us in Lexington, somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I looked around. I didn't want to go to the coast because of hurricanes and all that stuff. So we looked for a lake. We looked at Lake Norman. Too busy, couldn't get anywhere. Somebody mentioned Lake Murray, and we got here. It's a fantastic lake. And for 12 or 13 years, I tried to keep a sailing school working. It not quite profitable enough. And I'm sure you're going to bring up BNI at one point. It's about making connections, but it's also there's other things happen in BNI. And one day I'm talking to somebody from another business, and they say, how much do you charge for that? And I told him, he said, you can't make it. And I was 12.
You're already 12 years in.
I was 12 years in, and I knew that because all I'd watched was me slowly struggle more and more and stuff like this. And I went, damn, somebody said it bluntly to me. I get it now. And I spent a year folding it in a way that I can go to every sailing club member that I had. Yeah. And they all said, thank you for doing it that way, not just pulling the plug. Yeah, and leaving them high and dry, because I had commitments and stuff. I had commitments to them, and I went to the marina. They helped a lot with the slow transition out and stuff like that out at South Shore Marina. So, and then went back into the pool stuff then, and I've had 2 jobs in the I've had 3 jobs in the pool industry around here. The first one I didn't get through BNI, but the second 2 are through BNI connections, I think.
Yeah.
Or I've brought them in. No, Alewind was through BNI. The third one wasn't. But the job with Hoover now, where I am, and this will be the last job, unless I really upset them somehow.
I don't think so.
That's through BNI.
You have done an amazing job of managing all these relationships in your past.
Yeah, I like to think that you fall out with some people. There's a guy at Balfour Beatty that I never want to see again in my life. And that's not Balfour Beatty's fault. They're fantastic. There are people that I work with in Balfour Beatty. Mark Thompson's in Australia. We still communicate 40 years later. And it's bizarre that it's 40 years. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
1988 I went there.
Yeah.
So
exciting.
There's people that I'll communicate. Occasionally there's one bad apple somewhere. And I remember one guy from high school, one guy from Balfour Beatty. Other than that, I think I could shake hands with most people.
I believe it.
At least I hope so.
I believe it.
if I've been faking it.
All right, before we talk about Pink Gorillas, tell me about Hoover.
Hoover, 52 years of building pole buildings. 4 feet in the ground, guaranteed the poles. But the big thing is, people question about the posts going in the ground. Aren't they going to rot? No, they're not. We warranty those posts for 40 years. So the pressure treatment, we get them special posts from Alabama. And the buildings are still up. The stories we've heard, we've pulled back from the other side of I-95 at the coast because since Hugo, the regulations have got crazy out there. But there are buildings the other side of I-95 that they built 30 years ago that went through Hugo whilst the house next door blew down. So they're good quality stuff.
Awesome
They're buildings, not sheds.
Yeah.
You see some of the tubular steel stuff going up, these guys from other states coming in, and they rattle. They're sheds, they're not buildings.
Yeah. And that's why you guys have been around for so long.
Yeah, and I've been there 2 years now, and I don't see leaving until I retire now. So
that's awesome. Really fantastic company you're at. And you guys support the Pink Gorilla in that cause.
Yeah. So I didn't wear the suit because I got this nice shirt now. I don't have to. But the Pink Gorilla thing, just an accidental thing happened. I was doing the Real Men Wear Pink, and this Pink Gorilla suit appeared. So I started wearing it, and it's coming on. This is Little Stanley. When I'm in my Pink Gorilla suit, I'm Nigel, and there's 2 or 3 others that have got the suits as well now. So and they'll wear them. It's a way to make the connection. I can wear that and go into a room. Some kids freak out. That's a bit. The kids either love it or go, "What the heck?" But it'll break the ice instantly. So asking for help or donations is good. And we raise money for American Cancer Society, which is the big gorilla of the cancer charities or non-profits and stuff. But they do so much that people don't necessarily realize. They see the research, but they have a system where if you need to get to treatment and you haven't got the funds or you haven't got the car, if you're going through cancer treatment, you may not be able to drive, so you can call them up and go and do it and get a ride to treatment and back through them. The other big one for me is I hear people that get diagnosed with cancer, and I think, what if that happened to me? I wouldn't know what the heck to do or how to act, or because you automatically go worst case scenario. They have a 1-800 number that is manned 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So if you may be able to get yourself to sleep, but you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, what about this? What about that? What about this? You can call that number and get the help or the resource or just somebody to talk to, and for them to say, what are you doing? How are you doing it? You're on the right track. That's the best thing you can probably do. Or have you thought about doing this? And just to have that resource to me is priceless.
That's amazing.
At the same time, the 1 year, I get the years mixed up. I'm not the most detailed guy about the charity money and where it goes. But I think the U.S. South Carolina schools, colleges, universities, whatever you want to call them, got like $4 or $5 million worth of research grants.
Wow.
So we can try and not have to have people getting in a car needing treatment and stuff like this. And then you meet people that have got the cancer or are going through treatments, and you realize it's everybody. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter about your gene pool. Yes, it may be genetic. And
affects so many people.
It affects just so many people, and you go, and then you see them just carrying on, trying not to get affected.
Yeah.
I before I got involved with all this, I remember talking to the guy that owned the sailing school that I was a branch of, and his wife was going through ovarian cancer, and she'd been fighting for 10 years. And it was in the last year, and she was still trying to go and get a game of tennis in. Because she had to, because it was her thing, you know. And these people will not back down from it, and they keep trying to do their stuff. And you've got to support that, and the best way to support that is try and find a bloody cure.
All right, so if somebody does want to support it, how do they get you money?
There's links everywhere.
Facebook?
Yeah, find me on Facebook, Brian Adams. Unfortunately, there's some other dude spells it with a Y, so you may find him first.
Without the Y.
Yeah, without the Y. Mine's an I, Brian with an I, and tone deaf. Go through that. Go on to hopefully you guys will put a link on us now for this.
Absolutely.
And you can donate this silly thing. I hope we've got time for this. This silly thing is not as silly as it looks. So my mother is 89 years old, and she still knits. It's about all she can do. She's not very mobile, and she goes to a thing called the Jubilee Rooms every week, twice a week, and she took her knitting with her, and I sent her a bunch of pink wool through Amazon. Didn't know how much I sent her. Apparently I sent her quite a lot. So she's knitting in the Jubilee Rooms, and this little lady, Jean, who is 92, weighs about 80 pounds, arthritic, lost her husband to cancer 40 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And says to Mum, "Are you knitting? I used to knit, but I can't do it anymore because of the arthritis." And Mum says, "Have you tried wooden knitting needles? They're better for arthritic hands." She said, "No, let me try." So at 92, she hasn't knit for 30 years. She starts knitting again. Mum says, "Can you knit some hats?" So this hat, and I have 9 or 10 of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is knit by Jean, the 92-year-old arthritic lady from a little town in England.
She did an amazing job. I'm sitting here looking at this piece of art.
Yeah, so I have 9 or 10 of them. And yes, I know you can find pink hats on Amazon for $3. I'm asking if a group or a single person wants to donate me $500, they can have a hat. They're very valuable to me because I've walked in that room where my mother gets her support twice a week. She gets to hang out with people her age, but she's also getting to get these people doing more stuff. One of the young girls there, she's probably in her 20s, just didn't know how to knit. And she's like, "I don't know how to knit. Can you teach me?" So Mum's in there at 89 Mum's got macular problems, so she can't always see everything. If you see a sweater she knits, there's missed stitches, but we don't tell her.
The sweater still works.
Yeah, it's still, and I've got a big pink sweater that will come out in October. But it's given her such a life. So indirectly, by stumbling on Whitney Jeffcoat and the American Cancer Society at a BNI meeting to do Real Men Wear Pink, I'd be able to come full circle, not only help that charity.
Yeah.
My mum lives 4,000 miles away, and yes, I go back 2 or 3 times a year to spend a weekend or whatever. But this has been amazing to be able to get her energized in it. She gives me heck for sending her a box of wool this big when I thought it'd be about this big. But anyway, so yes, the whole ACS thing has been brilliant, and I could talk about the motorcycles and all that stuff that it's given me as well. But I have a feeling we're about to use up 3 hours.
You're doing some amazing stuff. That is really cool. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And somebody needs to buy like 10 of these hats because
that'd be good. I'll sell them one at a time. And if 5 people want to get together and they just have the hat to put on a shelf somewhere, a business, that'd be great.
Hear, hear. We'll definitely get that information out for the world. Life is a movie with you, man. It's exciting to hear your story. Doing so much cool stuff. Brian, thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you on again sometime down the road. A lot of things we missed here.
So when are we doing the Wrong Brennan podcast? So that you're the guy on the seat.
Yeah, down the road. Hey, when I got a story like yours, I'll be all over.
You have a story. We all have a story, and if we don't, we know where to go find it. Go travel. See the world.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
Cool.
Hey everyone, many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow and click the bell to stay up to date on future episodes, or click the link to watch another previous episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback.